Believe Jesus. In Hebrew or Aramaic, scholars debate whether Jesus taught, well, he spoke in Aramaic, but there is one school of thought that believes he taught in Hebrew. Um, Regardless, in Hebrew or Aramaic, um, and basically everyone agrees it's one of those two languages. Um, the term for believe in and believe are pretty much the same. So they are the same. So we choose to translate many of the passages where Jesus says, believe me, we translate them, believe in me. Furthermore, in the Hebraic worldview, there was really no distinction between believe, obey, follow, implement. They were all the same. So um, they certainly had their share of hypocrisy in first century Israel. It's not like they'd solved that problem. But they didn't really have a concept for believing but non-practicing. So to them, that would have been like a Republican who always votes Democrat. Obviously, he is what he votes by definition. So back to this idea of believe in Jesus versus believe Jesus, or believe in me versus believe me. I think as modern Western Christians, we have tended to vastly overemphasize believing in Jesus, i.e., believing Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, believing God exists, believing that Jesus is his Son, and that he existed, that he died, and rose again. I believe those, so I think that is very, very important. But we overemphasize that, and we underemphasize the importance of believing the message of Jesus, believing what he told us to believe. I think we underemphasize it, or because of that, we misunderstand it, and we don't implement it. Some groups go so far as to say the teaching of Jesus was for a different dispensation, and we have a church dispensation. In fact, I was raised in this school of thought, and basically, we have the church dispensation. It's under a different dispensation, and so the rules and regulations of our dispensation are what Paul wrote in his doctrine, and what Jesus wrote was good, but it's for a different dispensation, so it didn't really primarily apply to us any more than the Old Testament primarily applied to us. Without going into the nuance of all that, I think it's it's all messed up. It's all convoluted. It's not. I don't agree with that. Okay, we need to understand and implement the message of Jesus. Jesus didn't come to start a new religion. He didn't really come with a religious message either. In fact, the whole idea of religion came out of the Enlightenment. Certainly religions date back prior to that, but there was no category other than religion. So it was a worldview. There was no category of non-religious. There was no category of secular. There was no idea of atheism or humanism. Jesus didn't come to start a new religion. Paul didn't even intend to start a new religion. And he had been shocked when one did start, as would have Jesus. But that's not what he came to do. He came to teach us about God. He never identified as anything other than Jewish. While other people tried to strip away his Jewishness, and that's happened on both sides, that never came from him. And he came to show us how to have a relationship with the Father, how to have a relationship with the deity, how to live at peace with him. What did he do? He spent the bulk of his time, he did a lot of miracles, healing people, compassion, serving them. And his message was, if I could boil it down very quickly, love one another. And his message was, the relationship is far more important than anything else. And I am willing to pay a great price, a sacrificial price, at great expense to restore the relationship. And I've come to restore you back to a relationship with God, and that is open for everyone. And he modeled this by tearing down barriers, including those who are excluded, breaking down taboos in a society that was deeply divided, deeply tribal, deeply polarized. The whole nation of Israel was fighting there was lots of fighting, ideological fights among themselves of what it meant to be Jewish, fighting for the Jewish identity. Not to mention all the forces outside of themselves of the Roman Empire. They're under occupation. And in this very tribal, very divided society, he broke tribal lines, reached out to those who are outcast, who are pariah, who are not included them, and said they also have a right to the covenant, to the blessings, to the relationship. And the relationship I'm coming to offer, the blessings I'm coming to offer are for everyone. Wow. I think we need to do a better job believing Jesus, especially if you believe in Jesus.